Darren Watkins Jr. was ordinarily born in a black average family of mother and father who met, and as a result, there's a child, Darren Watkins Jr., who is named after his dad. The mother, born Tiffany Elizabeth Graves, who is approximately 41 years old, decided to end the relationship. I believe there's some festering issues that couldn't help or contribute to nourishing and helping the marriage and nurturing the marriage to grow. And that would have created quite, I'd say, a nurturing environment to Ishowspeed, growing up in a full circle, present down mother, father figure, type of family setup. But when she took the dad to divorce court, of course, it's usually the custody of the child, and the judge or the attorney will always rule in favor of the mother, because most of the time, the reason why it happens even naturally is mothers are nurturing. I think I've mentioned the word nurturing a lot. They're nurturing and that tenderness, care, and the concern. They have this love, deep connection with the child. So the judge or the attorney will always rule in favor of the mother. If you've ever heard of a story where the mother or the father took either of the couple to divorce court and they ruled in favor of the man to be in custody of the children, usually they have ascertained that the mother is not either mentally at a capacity level to take care or nurture kids, or also could be maybe financially, but rarely, if maybe it's a financial issue, they always ensure that they push it. They'll always ensure it's pushed to the father of the child. So custody, divorce court battle, always the mother wins. And also maybe if she's a tick tick boom boom boom, like not, mentally, if you're mentally cuckoo, you're not gonna be able to take care of the child. And so they're always rule in favor of them, the woman. And so Ishowspeed's mom, Tiffany Elizabeth Graves, won the custody battle, so she had to take care of the child. But Ishowspeed was one of these special children who maybe was an early bloomer, so to say. He'd speak faster, he'd think faster, he'd perform stunts, screams, bark. He'd potentially maybe bully other kids like in a sarcastic way. All of us have been told that your first time being taken to kindergarten, there's always that, even your first time in school, there's always that kiddo who calls the shots. They have quite an upper hand in terms of maybe even accessing the playground or the ball, or maybe they have the best facilities, the best items in terms of the toys and whatnot. There's always that kid who has it all, and he or she calls the shots. So probably Ishowspeed was one of those, and his personality and nature of him being outgoing, bubbly, and happy-go-lucky, larger than life, probably became too much for the mom. And so in his early developmental stages, Ishowspeed needed resources, he needed guidance, he needed a present mother and a present father to actually guide him on the right path to birth his gift, nurture his gift and his talent, and eventually who would have become a star. But of course now with the toxicity with the mom also being beaten, whatnot, there's a lot that had to come into play, measuring on the fact that, women are emotional, especially Black American women. If they're left alone to raise a child, it usually turns out to be extremely chaotic. So there's a bit of projection, emotional projection on Ishowspeed. And also when he started streaming, school became difficult for him. School was not his thing. And so he had to actually find an alternative, and he found comfort and satisfaction in doing content on YouTube and gaming and streaming on Roblox and Discord and Twitch and everything. And so that needed to be guided. But it just turns out the mother was not thrilled and game on it. And so at some point, he had to kick him out. And Ishowspeed had to figure out how to navigate through life. And that created some sort of brokenness inside him. And that's why that pattern of first heartbreak coming from your mother and first disapproval coming from your mother, you always carry it as a man in your adult life. And I believe that's a wound that Ishowspeed will have to consciously deal with in his adult life, of dealing with the first heartbreak and disapproval that came from your own very mother who carried you for 9 months. And I believe from thereafter, he learned the hard way. Definitely meeting Adin Rose, who instrumentally played a huge role in building his streaming career and personality, introduced him to a team of other elite streamers. Adin Rose acted as his manager at first. When Ishowspeed's mom kicked him out of his house, Adin Rose was actually making some sort of like an intervention, and he became Ishowspeed'S handler and started taking care of him. And that just shows you that Ishowspeed has people who are running him and servicing him behind the scenes. And one of them that has been instrumental is, Eden Rose, who actually, I believe, helped him to get through management professionally. Now, Ishowspeed is part of the lexicon of the leads in Hollywood, the access to the leads, to these famous people. Ronaldo meeting all these avant-garde, extremely famous people has been through management. So Ishowspeed is handled. He just plays a character. He's a personality. So there's a possibility of things being ripped out of him at the end of the day if he's not calculative or futuristic about the future of his career as a black person. And that happens to most of the famous people. The fame and fortune can be easily taken away because he's just a personality play on a stage.